Howdy, folks. Whit Walls from NeedCoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how it works for the uninitiated. I've just left the cinema, it's behind you over there, where I have seen a film, and I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home, because it just saves time. So, today, we are here to talk about The Cabin in the Woods. And can I just say, it's kind of refreshing to go to a very early morning matinee and pay $6 for a movie ticket. Remember when we used to pay $6 for movie tickets? Those were good times. Alright, so, Cabin in the Woods. Synopsis is this. Similar setup in that you got 5 young people who are on their way to a cabin in the woods and to party and drink and smoke and, you know, fraternize and perhaps get up into a little and yes, so that's pretty much it. However, they call up something evil and old and nasty and stuff. And as a result, hijinks of the bloody kind ensue. Now that's your synopsis, but the great thing about the film is that that's not what's really going on. And they make no bones about it in the trailer. Now I'm assuming that you've watched the trailer. If you've watched the trailer for Cabin in the Woods, if you don't know about the film, I urge you to go watch the trailer. Even if you don't like horror movies, you will appreciate the trailer in that it is, well, first of all, just for the trailer's sake, it puts across the fact that you only think you know what's going on. And because the whole kids go to some location and... What is shaking? Anyway, I thought it was the camera. They're way up. Anyway, no, that would be a spoiler joke. Anyway, so, anyway, they are, because everyone knows the tropes of the horror movies so well, they turn that completely on its head, in a way. Now, you know, at first when I saw this, I thought, well, this could be fun like Scream was fun. In that, the first Scream, right, was fun because it knew that you knew what the shot was, but could then play around with the shot so that, you know, it was new and fresh and it kind of subverted everything. Oh, I see what's making the noise. Hang on. Oh, I've showed it to you, but it would be product placement. Ibuprofen. There you go, it's better. Now something else is rattling. My car is old. It's okay. So anyway, I thought, you know, when the film started up, I thought, okay, this could be a little Scream-esque, you know, but it's more than that. The thing that I was concerned about from watching the trailer was, once you've shown not necessarily the cards in your hand, but shall we say the nature of your hand, if that makes any sense? Is that a one-trick thing? I mean, is it going to be that once we know that, we know what's going on completely and we can guess what's happening? And the answer, thankfully, is no. No, it's not. There are some surprises in store. There's a lot of surprises in store, and there's a lot going on. And I'm not even going to go into any of that because it's so delightful to see what's happening, because from the get-go, it starts to turn things on its head. And that's so nice, because here's the thing that really struck me about halfway into the film that I realized was happening, that doesn't happen very often with horror movies these days, I think, okay? Is that, you know what it's like? It's like eating hot foods, okay? There are some people that appreciate some spicy, flavorful food, okay? That's hot, okay? But it's not. But it's just flavorful. It's enhanced by the flavor. And then there are people that basically are like extreme endurance people. They want to eat chili that makes them sweat, right? They want to gnaw on ghost peppers just to see if they can. And to me, that's what a lot of horror movies are these days, is that horror movies, it's not flavorful. It's just trying to see how much of whatever we can cram into an hour and 40 minutes, right? That to me is a lot of horror movies these days. And you miss a lot of what I suddenly found myself having, which was fun. I mean, do you remember what it was like to have fun at the horror movies? I do. And so does the film. And I think that's the glory of it, in that, yes, there's some funny bits, and yes, there's some nice subversive bits, and yes, there's some horrific bits, but those aren't really where you would expect them to be, which is nice, okay? So, I mean, kudos, first of all, to Goddard and Whedon for putting together a great story that they then were able to execute on with a cast that I can only talk about half of. For spoiler reasons. You got 5 kids in the cabin. You've seen them in the trailer. And they do a very good job of subverting, and again, I talk about subversion and playing with expectations, but they do a very good job of working with the script to make you go, oh, I see, okay. And it's like that a lot, but not in a, okay, and here's the other thing. You know how a lot of times when there's something, I won't even call them twists. They're not twists. They're just tweaks. But you know how a lot of times scripts, they don't know how to tweak something. They don't even know how to twist something to where it feels natural, so that it feels like it actually happened instead of, okay, we've all been there. We've been reading a book, watching a television show, something, and something happens. Not even from out of left field, from out of left field in some other stadium. And you sort of know, you can see the seams in it. You sort of know that the writer said, I need this piece to be there. I'll just put it there. And I'll cover it up with some, I don't know, some glue and paste and stuff. That's what it feels like a lot of the time. In this, I never really felt like any of the little nice subtle tweaks or twists or whatever. Not even twist. Again, it's twists makes it sound too like it's doing, but it's not. It's just subtle little tweaks to what your expectations are. But at no point did I ever go, why the hell is that happening? So that's refreshing. But yeah, you've got a great cast all the way around. You've got decent effects. And there's not, a huge amount of them. And it really does sort of pay an homage to many, many horror films. In fact, I would need to, some of them become very obvious, when you're coming up on what is, in essence, the Evil Dead cabin, right? Which is just a great shot. I mean, it's straight out of Raimi, right? But I know there's a bunch that I missed because I was just sitting there. Once I realized what I was supposed to be paying attention to, I just, I missed it. So I would actually care to watch it again so that I can catch more of them. So I think if you are, here's what I would say. If you are a fan of horror movies, and by that I mean movies that actually horrify, not torture porn, not, just straight up slasher flicks in which you're basically going, let's just tie someone to a chair and carve bits off them. No. If you actually like horror movies, and indeed, if you really do appreciate, I wouldn't even say old school, because it feels like I'm dating myself, and I know my beard has silver in it, but for God's sake. But if you appreciate the nice balance of fun that comes out of something like Evil Dead 1 and 2, where it was nice and evenly balanced, right? If you appreciate that, and you appreciate just the horror genre as a whole, as opposed to just bits of it, that, you know, again, if you enjoy a flavorful chili, that is the horror genre, then I think you would appreciate this film. And I would urge you to go see it. Not because Lionsgate needs the money, because, my God, they got the Hunger Games in. They're going to have a great weekend this weekend. But no, I would say catch a matinee, definitely, if that floats your boat. All I can say is this: if you haven't watched the trailer and you're still watching, that was a mistake. But if you haven't watched it, if you've watched the trailer and you thought that looks like it could be for me, it's probably for you. Okay, because I literally about halfway through realized I was having a blast, which I don't have in horror movies very much these days, because they're too busy trying to, you know, do jump scares and blood and gore and stuff, and it's not fun, you know. I mean, it's again, it's the ghost pepper. Let me see how much of this I can gnaw on. Oh, I'm having fun. Tears streaming down my face. I'm having a great time eating this pepper. Ooh, this is why I went to college. Right, okay, so that's not what's happening. Fun horror movie. Done. Now, Cups. You know what? Here's what I would say, is that I was throughout the thing looking at it going, this is a 3. This is a 3. This is a good solid 3. And then it started doing more, and I went, okay, this is a 3.5. And then when all the cards were on the table, I went, this is a 4. So this is a 4-cup movie, simply because I really like what they set out to do. They set out to play with my expectations, did it well, didn't blink from what they set out to do once it became clear what they were doing, and I enjoyed myself. It's so nice to say that about movies, to just go, oh, I just enjoyed myself. So there you go. Horror fans, check it out. It will not steer you wrong, I don't think. So anyway, that's another Wayhomer in the can, so to speak. And for those of you that like these things, please come and check us out. In fact, I will say this: you can find me on Twitter, for God's sake. Twitter.com/widget with 2 T's. There's a change up for you. There's a link. Come follow me on Twitter. And unless you're one of these spam crazy people, or all you do is post, you know, supposedly inspirational quotes or whatnot, chances are I'll follow you back, because I'm just that way. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time on the Wayhomers. Bye.